Well, how do you know when the divine is speaking to you, when the divine has a request? Does it happen suddenly or over a long period of time? Is it subtle, like the wings of a butterfly brushing against your cheek? Or is it just the opposite, like 100 decibel rock song? What do you think Moses would say? Oops. All right, we went through that. Okay, sorry, missed that one. Let me go back. Well, no, I don't want to go back. It'll mess it up. Well, how about Moses? He had an answer to this, I think. Let me read from Exodus 3. Now Moses was keeping the flock of his father-in-law Jethro, the priest of Midian, and he led his flock to the west side of the mountains and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. And the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a flame of fire out of amidst of a bush. He looked, and behold, the bush was burning, and yet it was not consumed. And Moses said, I will turn aside to see this great sight, why the bush is not burned. When the Lord saw that he had turned aside to see, God called to him out of the bush, Moses, Moses. He said, Here I am. And he said, Do not come near. Take your sandals off. Oop, lost my spot. For the place on which you stand is holy ground. And he said, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob. And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look at God. He wasn't confused. That was the voice of God. Well, how about Noah? From Genesis 7, then the Lord said to Noah, Go into the ark, and you and your household, for I have seen that you are righteous before me. In this generation, take with you 7 pairs of all clean animals, the male and his mate, and the pair of the animals that are not clean, the male and his mate, and 7 pairs of the birds of the heavens, also male and female, to keep their offspring alive in the face of all the earth. For in 7 days I will send rain on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. And every living thing that I have made I will blot out from the face of the ground. And Noah did all that the Lord had commanded him. Noah was not confused. He heard the voice and he did it. How about Mary Magdalene from John 20:11 through 18? But Mary stood weeping outside the tomb, and as she wept, she stooped to look at the tomb, and she saw 2 angels in white, sitting where the body of Jesus had lain, one at the head and one at the feet. They said to her, Woman, why are you weeping? She said to them, They have taken away my Lord, and I do not know where they laid him. Having said this, she turned around and saw Jesus standing. Oh, I think I'm at the next slide. There we go. And Jesus said to her, Oh, I'm sorry. Having said this, she turned around and saw Jesus standing, but she did not know that it was Jesus. Jesus said to her, Woman, why are you weeping? Just like the angels, whom are you seeking? Supposing him to be the gardener, she said to him, Sir, if you have carried him away, tell me where you have laid him, and I will take him away. Jesus said to her, Mary. She turned and she said to him in Aramaic, Rabboni, which means teacher. Jesus said to her, Do not cling to me, for I have not yet ascended to the Father. But go to my brothers and say to him, I am ascending to my Father and your Father, to my God and your God. Mary Magdalene went and announced to the disciples, I have seen the Lord. And that he said these things to her. She wasn't confused. It was very clear. Let's talk a little bit more about how the divine speaks through us or to us. Certainly, the divine can speak to us through subtle means, like when you're in meditative states, listening to music, in our dreams, when we are reading cards, and other forms of divination, and when we talk to the divine in prayer. As the manager of the Santa Barbara Tarot Circle, I am often asked, how can I be sure I am reading the spread correctly? Or how can I be sure of the message all the time? Would be about how often that takes place. Tarot cards are, word of the day, multivalent, which makes for lots of latitude and interpretation. If you're looking for inspired answers to a question, how can you be sure that the divine is present or what the message is? Don't worry. Listen to my experience, which is when the divine wants to make a point to you or has a request, you will know the source and what is requested with absolute certainty. It will not be subtle. Okay, now, Brian, how can you conflate Moses, Noah, Mary Magdalene with the Chambers brothers? I'm going to show you how. Who remembers that song, Time Has Come Today? Oh, come on. Oh, Roxy, come on. Okay. Thank you, Reverend. Can divine intervention come through to musicians? Oh, yes. This thought occurred to me the other day when I was reading about the origin of the song Time Has Come Today by the Chambers Brothers. I remember when this came out in 1967. That's why Roxy can't remember. At the height of the Summer of Love. The song was an absolute psychedelic powerhouse, encapsulating the energy and feeling of the times. Gives me chills just to remember that. Something wonderful was blossoming with great power and enthusiasm. Civil rights were at the forefront. The young were calling for an end to the Vietnam War, and love was in the air, lots of love. Something was happening that could not be resisted because its source was so pure and powerful. Okay, so this is a story about the song Time Has Come Today and how it emerged as an irresistible outcry from these times. And this, I'm going to read an edited interview from Songfacts. This psychedelic soul classic was written by two of the four Chambers brothers, Joe and Willie. Joe wrote most of the lyrics after sitting in on a class at UCLA with Timothy Leary. Willie put the music together and contributed the line, "My soul has been psychedelicized." The song spoke to the younger generation that was fighting for civil rights, social justice, and an end to the Vietnam War. The lyrics are somewhat ambiguous, but the constant repetition of the word time makes it clear that the song is a call to action. Chambers Brothers were from Mississippi and started out as a gospel act. They wrote, a lot of people did, they wrote this song after relocating to Los Angeles, where they rented a 2-story house. And in this interview, Willie Chambers explained how the lyrics and music came together. I thought this was curious because they came together separately and then they merged. I was down in the dining room with an acoustic guitar and I was playing that music over and over. I got kind of hooked on that line. In that melody, time. But I didn't have any words, hadn't written the lyrics. And Joe, at the same time, he was upstairs in his room, writing the lyrics to Time Has Come Today. He could hear what I was doing down there and he interrupted his writing. He came down to the top of the stairs and said, "Hey, what's that you're playing?" I said, "I don't know. This riff just came to me and I just keep playing it." He said, "You got lyrics to that?" "No, I don't have lyrics yet, man. I was just up in my room writing, and everything I'm writing, the music is going with what I'm writing. The same time I'm writing it, and you're down here playing it. Well, bring your guitar down." We had a basement of the house, and we had a rehearsal studio down there. So he and I went down to the basement, and he started singing these lyrics. And man, the music and the lyrics were made for each other. The original version was released in 1966 and ran just 2 minutes, 37 seconds. I heard it on the Ed Sullivan Show, and it was very short. It went nowhere, but they started playing extended versions of the song in their live shows. And when they recorded it on their 1967 album, Time Has Come, The Time Has Come, it ran 11 minutes, 6 seconds. And in 1968, it was once again released as a single. This was the one. This time with a running time of 4 minutes, 45 seconds, very playable. This was a version that eventually became a hit, going to number 11 in the US. Not bad. The Chambers Brothers started performing Time Has Come Today in 1965. The following year, they signed up with Columbia Records, whose label boss, Clive Davis, surprised them by forbidding them to record it. Willie Chambers told the story in his Songfacts interview, Songfacts. After we signed with Columbia Records, there was a big party with all the food and booze and all this stuff. All the important people, this is LA, were there, and we got to meet all the head hogs, and Clive was there. He was there for a couple hours, and he says, well, I must be going. I have other appointments. He immediately leans back in the door and says, oh, by the way, that song, Time Has Come Today, that you guys do, we won't be doing that. We won't do that kind of shit on this label. That was it. And he walked away. I looked at my brothers and we were looking at each other like, what the heck? And our producer, David Rubinson, remember him? He was in tears. Now, he was crying. He says, I waited all my whole life to record this song. Now he's going to tell us we can't record it? Why? A couple of days went by, and our producer comes by and says, I don't give a shit what he says. We're going to record that song. When we get our recording date, you guys show up an hour early. We're going to go to the studio. We're going to turn on the tape. We're going to play it live. We're going to do it like a live performance. We're going to record it, and whatever we get, we're going to have to live with it. We can't play it back. We can't overdub. We can't splice. We can't fix something. If there's a mistake, we're just going to have to live with it. He says, I'm going to probably lose my job, and that's how important it is to me to record this song. Can you feel that? He didn't care. This song was so important to him. Later on, Joe and I went into Columbia Records to have a powwow with Mr. Davis, the bad guy, to have him explain to us why he thought we shouldn't record this song. You'll love this. Yeah, we didn't have an appointment with him. We just showed up. We were 6'4" tall, angry black guys. So we walk into the receptionist and we said, we need to speak to Mr. Davis. Do you have an appointment? No, but we want to speak with him. We were persistent. So she calls his office and says, the Chambers Brothers are here, and they say it's important. They need to talk to you. He says, well, I'm very busy. I don't have time. And I said, you're going to take time. So we kind of forced our way into the office, and we said to him, why can't we record this song? He says, it's not the kind of music the black guys produce or play. Clive says, hey, yeah, and then he continued, you're 4 black guys. You're going to be sending up that stream into the world. Time has come today. It's way too profound of a statement for 4 black guys to be saying to the world. That was his reason. He says, we'll get a white artist to record the song. It's not your kind of music. My brother Joe says, what do you mean it's not our kind of music? We wrote it. So after that, having that conversation with him, we were ready to do whatever the producer said, a good guy. We were going to record it anyway. When we got our moment, we went into the studio and did it in one take. Time Has Come Today was done in one take. There was no listening back. We couldn't listen back. When we came to the end of it, we had no idea where it was going. Once we ended it, we shut down the machines, and then we left the studio and came back at the time we were supposed to, that we talked about earlier. They came in an hour early. Clive Davis didn't find out about it until he had mixed, prepped, and released. When he found out, he fired everyone on the spot. Everyone he could. He fired our producer. I think he fired the guy that opened the door for us. He fired everybody that got involved with recording that song. Like many artists who were part of the civil rights movement, the Chambers Brothers faced a dilemma. They could take part of the protest, but that would risk silencing their music. They chose to let their music be their voice, and they spoke out loud with Time Has Come Today. We had been warned by the media that by booking agents that if we participated in any of the protests or marches, and there were a lot of them, or we sang at any of them, we would no longer be booked by any of the agents. Lester Chambers said on the Songfacts podcast, so we figured, hey, we don't have to be there. Let's get on the radio with it. He wrote the greatest song that's ever been written for it. Time Has Come Today. Time has come today for hearts, young hearts, to go their way. Can't put it off for another day. We got to do this. People really need to know that time has come for us to act like people, not animals, and stop killing, shooting, and stealing from one another. Numerous movies and TV shows have made use of this song, including The Doors, Girl Interrupted, and My Name is Earl. Other artists who have performed this song include Steve Earle. I love Steve Earle's rendition of this. He's got, at the very beginning, and I recognize it immediately, Angela Davis, activist, speaking in the background. Later, I can hear William Kunstler of the Chicago 7 fame also speaking. Steve Earle, Bo Bice, Joan Jett of Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, Pearl Jam, the Angry Samoans, who I'm not familiar with, Sheryl Crow, and the Ramones. The Chambers Brothers never achieved a top 10 hit on the Hot 100. They came in agonizingly close as this song stalled at number 11 for 5 weeks. The Chambers Brothers and their producer David Rubinson risked their careers for something they knew would be their contribution to the times, a song that would reflect and encourage the need for social change and a new beginning. They had heard that call of the divine. When you hear that call, you just have to do it.